All right, so sit comfortably in any seat of your choice. Where did Tony go? Oh, there she is. Okay, so it's interesting because you went from a different part of the screen, so I wonder why that happened. Tony, you can sit in Virasana to get the compactness of the hips. Mary Beth, that's fine, Virasana.
Am I frozen?
Hmm?
Am I frozen?
No, you're okay. Yeah, we're fine. Okay, so those of you who are in Swastikasana can also sit with the Yoga Pata across the sacrum if that's helpful for you. And if you're sitting in Virasana, make sure yeah, that's good, Mary Beth. Sit in such a way that your toes are pointing straight back and your thighs, good Tony, are not touching each other. All right, and then just pronate the palms in either seat, pressing the quadriceps down and ascending the trunk up. So sense that you're enlivening, elating your side walls of the chest, because this is a class today on lengthening and releasing the spinal muscles. And then when you drop, not drop the eyes, when you close the eyes, don't have the chest drop. Don't have the chest drop, because usually that's what happens and we're not aware of that. Relax your hands, your fingers, your upper arms. Take a few cycles of breath, breathing in and out through the nose. And again, continue to evolve your pose. Get a strong lift of verticality in the trunk without alerting the brain. Sense the eyes moving beyond the temple skin. And setting aside any worries, concerns, judgments, managing, concocting, set it aside. Just sense not now, not now. And then be aware of the touchstones of your body, that part of the body that makes contact with the earth. And sense that you're allowing the mind to diffuse down to that part, which helps the mind settle down. Not just the body, but the mind. Sense that the brain moves to the heart as you feel the touchstones of the pose. Sense the quality of groundedness, uprightness, sense of balancing tranquility, calmness, in Pali shamatha with alertness. And then if you choose to, simply fold the palms and you can recite the vow, may I be a boat, a raft, a bridge for all beings to cross the flood. May I be a resting place for the weary. May I be medicine for all who are sick. May I be a lamp in the darkness for those who are lost. May I do so until earth and sky and galaxies exist, until all beings are enlightened. I vow to be here to serve them all. And then when you're ready, you can lift your gaze, stretch out your legs. All right, and now I need to get some tissues. So while I get my tissues, I'm going to have you rest in Supta Baddha Konasana, which I realize we have not done in a long time in the way that it's typically done for relaxation, on a vertical bolster. A smidge of head support, I think that will help you relax your spine. Soles of the feet together. So you're sitting in front of the the bolster. Tony, if this bothers your back, or for that matter, anyone, you can sit flat. And then you're going to recline back and then place the cervical spine support, and do have the arms out to the side as we did on Friday. So where did I put that? Okay, just hold on. So now as you're in Supta Baddha Konasana, you can close your eyes, press the soles of the feet together and elongate the side walls of the chest. Use the breath to relax your body, to relax your mind, maintaining the elongation in the side walls of the chest. Now sense that the area, basically where the bra line is, that breast region is moving away from the diaphragm, away from the diaphragm. That's something we're going to use later on throughout the sequence, because I'm touching once again on revolved triangle, where the sternum tends to press down onto the diaphragm and we don't get the length in the trunk. And then sense you can put your hands right at the top rib band. Yeah, that's it. Fingers pointing toward each other, and sense on the inhalation that area expands into your hands. See if you can get a fullness in the side walls of the chest. Do this in such a way, again, that doesn't constrict the throat. And then, of course, the exhalation moves down toward the pubic bone. So a few cycles of breath. That's good, Lumna, in that way. Feeling that separation between the breast region and the diaphragm. The breast region and the diaphragm. Continue to relax and release your spinal muscles, paraspinal muscles that run alongside the spine, and for that matter, the spine itself. And of course, that's the reason why we use the organic support, the soft support of the bolster, so that the spine is not hard. If you remember on Friday last week, we had a roll for it. Don't worry if you weren't here. We did a much more vertical roll, and that was to feel your spine, and it was harder to spread the spine when we use the roll in that manner. Another moment there. Again, focus on the breath, breathing in, expanding from the center outwards, separating the bottom breast region from the diaphragm. Because again, you'll need that down the road when we come to do poses, as I said, particularly revolved triangle. Now, when you're ready, you can simply place the feet flat on the floor, roll to your right or left side, slowly come up. Okay, so the next thing, I don't want you to, don't think of this as a warm-up. You know, sometimes I know people think of like, you know, in yoga, and there generally is, there's a rhythm to a sequence where it starts kind of here and then goes up to like a crescendo, like in music, and then you won't slowly down. But don't think of this as a warm-up per se. So this is what I'm going to have you do. You'll change, you know, you'll change the cross. I don't care if the right is in front of the left or the left in front of the right. And then just watch. I'll just show you at an angle. So I'm sitting cross-legged. If someone needs height or to have a bolster in front of them for this particular series, you will have that. And then so this is my right knee, and I'm going to go straight out. So some people, if their back feels tight in any way, if they're rounding the back, then just simply take the bolster, especially if you've not done this in a long time. Tony, you might consider doing it this way, right? So the spine is neither concave nor convex, right? So I just showed you convex, but it's not concave, and I don't think anyone here in this room would have it concave anyway. So here's my right leg. I'm sitting with my, and then of course I would go to the other side, but we'll do that soon. Okay, so sit cross-legged. You can show me in profile. And we're going to go over. So we're not coming directly forward. It's out over the right knee. Okay, over to the right side. So you're at a Parsva. It's called Parsva Swastikasana. Those of you, if you feel, Carl, anyone, if you feel your shoulders, Lumna, that's good, are lifting up to the ceiling, decentralize the arms, that will help, or raise them on a bolster as I just showed. Gail, see if you can adjust the camera. If you want support underneath the forehead, okay, take it. If you haven't done this in a while, it might feel very challenging. Now, in this position, Parsvastikasana, can you release your spinal muscles away from the ceiling? Just release them. See that there's no gap, ideally, between the thigh and the trunk. It's all you can put. Lana, do you have height? Do you have a roll there? Yeah. No, do you have a roll between your leg? What the blanket is? Oh, okay, it was your shirt. I thought you had a roll there. Okay, and go forward. All right. Now go to the other side, and the other side might be very different. So when I go to the right, I don't know if you can see this on the screen, but there's a big difference between going to the right and going to the left in my body. So just note that that might be, maybe the right side is easier for you, maybe it's the left. If you find that your shoulders are lifting up toward the ceiling, if your trapezius is falling on the neck, then obviously take more height underneath the buttocks, or place your hands on the bolster as I showed. That's it, Carla, and go. Peggy, that's good. You know, when you go to the left, the right buttock bone might lift up a little bit, but sense, don't let it lift too high up. Sense I was by your, yeah, Peggy, sense that I'm pulling down on the right thigh. That's it. It's very hard to get the side ribs even in this. Okay, now come up and repeat, change the cross now, and go to the right. And then we'll go to the left. Stay about a minute on each side to get, so we're doing this to release the spinal muscles. There are other ways to release the spinal muscles, certainly on the back is easier, but we're doing it this way as preparation for revolved triangle, which we touched on Friday. Those of you who weren't here, Lana, Lubna, etc. Okay, and go. And just appreciate this time. You know, how often do you get a chance to release your spinal muscles? Unless you do some traction things. And then when you're ready, after you stayed a minute, I'm going to change the cross side and go to the other side, left side. You probably remember this from teacher training. This next one, or no, maybe it was from Jarvis's class. Okay. Stay with it, just relax. Again, you know, if you find that your mind is proliferating, you know, set aside the planning, the remembering, the worry. Just be here now. It's not that long. Now come up. Now watch, oftentimes with people who have a long spine, will need a block outside the right thigh. Tony, you could try it that way. Otherwise, it's really for people who are very, you know, the proportion of their trunk is disproportional to their legs. Tony, I don't think that, because you certainly don't have short legs, but for someone, you probably know people have a very long spine and a shorter leg would need the block. So watch, I'll show this. So I don't need the block because I don't have a long spine. All right, so here's my right leg. I'm going to take the opposite arm, that's the left arm, and hook it. And then I'm using my right hand to turn from the left to the right. Now, all of you know revolved triangle. Do you see the similarities between doing this and being on 2 feet in revolved triangle? And then, of course, you'll go to the left and same exact thing, swap the cross and repeat. Okay? All right, here we go. Hook the left, that's it, Gail. And then use the right hand to turn. So what I like to do, and I showed this not in this pose last week, is I'll take my right hand off the floor and swipe my abdomen from the left to the right. Mary Beth, that's good. That's it, Carla. Keep going. Turn, turn, turn. Yes, get the elbow slightly past that outer right knee. So the trunk is almost parallel. Tony, take a look at me in the screen and see. I know you can get the trunk almost parallel. So it's less upright like this. That's good, Mary Beth. Your trunk is parallel. Good, Elaine. Parallel. That's it, Lubna. Okay, good, Winnie. All right, now to the left. Again, the two sides might be very different. So to me, when I go to the left, I feel rather stuck on the right side of my rib cage. So then I'm really going to use my left hand and turn. Oh, it's like cement between those ribs. Turn. Sharp exhalation. Use the breath. Turn, turn, turn. Turn, turn, turn. So we did some of this work last week. The legs are still in swastikasana, meaning cross-legged or sukhasana. Note, observe which side is harder for you to turn. It will manifest as we do our work this morning together. Okay, now come up, stretch out your legs. Just give good stretch to the legs for the knees. They'll feel good. Change the swap, whatever that swap was, and go back. Go back. Hook the elbow. Hook it, and then use the right hand on the floor to turn. Sometimes being on fingertips like this could really help. Hook. So you're going out over, past that outer right knee. Lengthen and turn. Sense that you're breaking, like if your ribs, if you feel your ribs like ice cubes, sense that you're chopping them up. So the intercostal muscles don't feel glued. And then of course, go to the left side. So it's a forward bend, but are taking obviously the hamstrings out of the picture. Again, observe how the two sides are different. Trying to get the body more and more parallel, more and more parallel. So you're going out. See that? It's like you're projecting your trunk that way versus down. Because when I just go down, I get that hump in the right side. So I'm going out longer, 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 longer. That's why sometimes the brick can also help. Okay, now come out, stretch your legs. And now for traction for the spine, take Adho Mukha Svanasana. If you're not doing Adho Mukha Svanasana, you can do Uttanasana with legs against the wall. Actually, no, with hands against the wall because we're doing it for traction. You could start in Tadasana from an all four. Yeah, hands can be on blocks, Lubna, and up you go. That's it, good. Do this for tractioning the spine, having turned, and now we're lengthening, lengthening. See if you feel a sense of suppleness in the spine, in the side walls of the chest, in the paraspinal muscles. See if you can get the heels down. Okay, now come down, and we haven't done this in some time, but one of the things about revolved triangle that I saw last week was that if your calves are not stretched, there's no way that back heel with the turning, because revolved triangle is a standing pose, forward bend and twist wrapped into one. The calves have to be elongated. So you'll take your mat and you'll fold it in half. You'll need a block too. So it'll be in this configuration in half. And then you fold both ends in. So it's like these two ends are coming together, like so. And then you fold it again. Of course, mine is not. I'm going to work on that again, so it's even. All right. And then I'm going to place this thick side into the pit of my knee. So it's pretty thick, this mat, and it basically squashes down my calves. And then I put the block in on the lowest side. If you need to have it on the medium side, that's fine. Point the feet straight back and I sit down in Virasana, and then we'll do Urdhva Badangulyasana arms in Virasana, okay? All right, so you'll start in that way. Have the mat, place that thick part in the pit of the knee. So the pit of the knee is the inside of the knee. All right, so that when you sit back, that mat will function to squash down the calves. All right, and then interlace your hands firm at the webbing. Take the elbows out to the side. Press the feet, outer shins, thighs a bit apart. And now reach up through the inner arms. Don't allow the trunk to go back. Top of the sternum forward, arms back. So the arms move back, but the very top of the sternum that we alluded to earlier, right above at the top of the breast region is moving forward. You're facing the screen toward the screen. And now take the hands down, change the swap, elbows apart, shoulder blades in, press the feet and reach up. Press the feet and reach up. Good. Arms are straight, elbows firm. Trunk is perpendicular. And now look up. Look up at your thumb, index finger side. And now take the arms down. All right, now watch, you can watch me. So go from that position, you'll remove the mat. And then tucking the toes under for the plantar fasciitis, do toe squash. If you need to put the brick on the medium height, then do so. So now the feet are perpendicular to the floor. I'm on the medium side of the brick and I'm sitting down. So it's Virasana, that's it. Basically from Virasana to the toe squash position. Tuck the toes under, good. You can separate with your fingers the toes. See if you can get the baby toe side down. Keep the thighs apart, a little bit apart. And then those of you with long arms, you can take your hands actually in the soles of the feet where we're stretching. You can take your hands into the soles of the feet. You'll feel your arches, right? That's it, Lumina. Put your hands in the soles of the feet and stretch out the soles of the feet. Okay, now from here, come into Vajrasana. Take the brick out. Join the big toes. Keep the heels together. I know they'll want to part. And then sit back on your heels. That's it, Vajrasana, Vajrasana. So thighs not touching. Now you're in Vajrasana, which again, we haven't done in some time. Okay, these look good. All right, now from here, stretch out your leg, come onto your knees. Take another down dog or Uttanasana with fingers out wall. And then we'll do one more thing for the feet and the calves. But we'll do it on a chair. Okay, you can take any dog pose, hands at the wall, Tony, feet at the wall, from Tadasana, from all four, from prone, any way. Okay, now see if you can get the heels down. See if you can watch the heels, Lumina. I can see on your left leg it looks like the heel's rolling in. It might be blurriness on my screen. Move the inner heel, especially on your left side toward the screen, toward the outer edge of the mat. Get the heels down, get the heels down. Mary Beth, take the legs a little further back just to get more length in your spine. Okay, and now those of you who can walk your feet to your hands, if you're near a wall, that might not work so well. Okay, now we're doing the calf stretch on the chair. Now, mind you, I had not done this in 5 weeks' time because when I was in California, they didn't have a chair like this. So I couldn't do it. All right, could do a little similar to a step, but it has to be a fairly high step. You can put a mat piece in the chair, and then it really works well with a belt. So it also is more comfortable, I will say, with sneakers on. And then I set my feet in the base of the chair, and then I pull up. Now, this is what I typically see when we do this pose, and I know we haven't done it sometime. You see how I'm standing? My chest is forward, my buttocks are lifting, buttocks move to the backs of the thighs. I'm aiming to get my thighs back and my chest absolutely upright, not this, because if you're here, do you see how this bypasses the groins? I could show it frontally. All right, let's see. Now, if you don't have a yoga chair, which you need to have in order to do this, you can do what Lana's shown many times, 1 foot at the wall, but it's not as intense. Mary Beth, lift from the sides of the pubic bone, or you can do it with the balls of the feet on bricks. Tony, that's good. And at the wall. Be cautious, but be bold, especially with the chair, because remember when Lindsay fell out of it. Carla, now I think the blocks are great, but you see now the chest is too far forward. So I think it's easier if you do the blocks. So you have to be, the upright position is easier, Carla, than the going forward. So I think you could do it with your blocks, Carla, at the wall to get the upright position. Peggy, yeah, a little more lift in the pubic bone. This is challenging to do upright. Lonnie, getting settled? Yeah, if you're on the chair, Peggy, just I'll be a stickler, a little more pubic bone. Look at your screen, guys. Yes, using the arms might help Mary Beth to lift up, but then you take if you're not pressing the feet down, that's how I've seen people fall. It's not so easy to get the trunk upright. So take a look in your screen and make sure your trunk, Lana, I could just see only the knees, unfortunately. That's okay, stay in it, Lana, so you don't have to get out. All right, lift up. Those of you who are amenable, Winnie, good. Now, if you're experiencing any kind of hyperextension, which this can cause, then take your calf flesh to your shin. That's better, Lana. Okay, stay a bit of time, and then you can come forward. Those of you in the chair, Carla, you can turn around and then go forward. But the forward aspect of it, yeah, pull up on the strap, Lana. The forward bend aspect of this pose is much more challenging. It's much easier than the upright. Now go forward, Mary Beth, if you can. If you're near the wall, you won't be able to come forward. Okay, Lana, that's even more. Lift up. So really open up those frontal groins. Take the calf flesh to the shin. Inner ankles, that's it, Gail, lift up. Gail, this is easy for you. All right. Now slowly, those in your chair, slowly come up and come out of it, and promise me that you won't wait till, the next time I teach it. Because the calves get really tight. Now, speaking of the calves getting really tight, take Uttanasana, everyone. Elaine, you can just go back to a concave. Take Uttanasana, having stretched the calves now, it should feel really good, even though we didn't do it before. Just bend down, release the waist, side, ribs, and head. If you need to bend the legs, Tony, that's fine. Otherwise, feet are hip width apart. Feel now what the work that we've done in releasing the spinal muscles and the stretches of the calves. Take the calf to the shin. If you feel if you're feeling that your knees are hyperextending, calf flesh to shin, and placing the hands behind the calves can help. All right. Now let's do this. Come up. So specifically for the calf, there's a way of doing Uttanasana that's specifically to help the calf. So let me just show. So how many of you feel that your calves are tight, relatively tight? Yeah, I mean, I would say that most people feel that their calves are tight. The other thing that I find really helpful that is somewhat, most people don't think of to stretch the calves is doing this, Malasana. But this also is a challenging pose for knees and hips, but this is a possibility. So let me just show you what we're going to do. First of all, you're going to place the belt right here at the back of the heel. So you can see it's touching the back circumference of the heel, and there's a little smidge of it that's even off the skin surface. And then you can get it there, as I just did, because it's harder, unless you have really open hip flexors, it's harder to lie down. Of course, you certainly can get it this way. And then stretch the leg up. And then you're going to pull the toes down, which you can't see from this angle, so I'll turn around. So the toes are being pulled down, but the heel is higher than the toes. And you're going to feel a beautiful calf stretch in the back of the right leg, which is very similar to what we did, but it's just Supta 1 for the calf. All right, so let's do that. The leg does not need to be so much beyond 90. All right, so put the belt on in such a way so it's at the back of the heel. Lana, are you okay? All right. That's it, Winnie. So yeah, get that strap. I think, Winnie, it's coming, it's more in the arch of the foot. See if you can get it at the back heel, the back heel. So that this is the, right here, this is where your heels were supposed to be down in dog pose, the outer circumference. But you got it, Mary Beth, that's it, yeah. Now pull the toes down and lift the heel up. Of course, the chair, good Peggy, the chair was helpful because the balls of the feet are higher than the heels. Pull, no, the other way, Winnie, pull the toes are down, the heel is up, toes down. Put your hand there, Mary Beth, that's fine. If you have long arms or lengthened hamstrings, you can reach for the foot and pull the toes down. That's it, Peggy, you got it. Dog just did a beautiful dog pose, Lubna. Good, Carla. All right. Stay with it about 2 minutes. This is for Supta Padangusthasana, and that's it, Tony. Pull it down. Toes down, heel up, toes down. It's also good for the hamstrings, but you know, this is this beginning of the class is what I'll call calf centric. And we're doing this for revolved triangle. Stay about 2 minutes. If you've done about 2 minutes, then of course switch side. You can get the belt on in any way you want. I find it easier to get, I mean, if you're flexible in your hip flexors, you can get it, the belt on being supine. If not, you can sit up, put the belt on, and then carefully lie down. Okay, that's it. So the belt is as far back as that heel goes, that's it. And then you're pulling with the belt, pulling the toes down, lifting the heel up. To remind you very much of what you just did in the calf stretch with your feet, both feet on the seat rest. It's not good. Okay, now for a moment, just have this memory because we're going to do Parsvottanasana. If you need to put the back left heel at the wall, do so. Otherwise, take your mat that's probably folded. Maybe it's not. Put it at the wall. If you need the wall, always standing poses can be done with back heel at the wall. Some of you might consider blocks for Parsvottanasana. So I'm just going to show it freestanding. So I'm stepping back with my left leg. My right leg will be in front. We've worked with this a lot. I'll say something about the back heel in a minute. And then I'm coming into the very first stage of Parsvottanasana. Have the blocks closer to the heel. So in the first stage, the back is concave. All right, I go a little bit lower. And then the second stage, we bring the chest down onto the leg. Okay, for this pose, for the back heel to be down, actually, before we do that, just take Tadasana, take the arms up for a minute. Exhale, bend forward. Well, then you can do Prasarita Padottanasana instead, because I want you to go back to dog pose. You can jump or step back, and I want you to get the heels down. Make sure you get the heels down. So see what the chair, calf stretch, what the Supta 1 calf stretch has done. Now here, first of all, drop a plumb line at your hips. Make sure your feet are not too close in because I want to find the truthometer here. All right, if you can get the heels down in the right shape of the pose, the apex being the buttocks, wonderful. But if there's a little bit of distance between your heels and the mat, I want you to walk in, but only, here's the caveat, only walk in as much as your upper back does not jut forward. So I don't want to round it back at the expense of the heels being down. I want the heels down. I want the heels down. Yes, it's true, Lana, that taking the blocks underneath the hands, you do have a bit more access to the legs. That we know. So I cannot see on the screen, unfortunately, if your heels are truly down, but I want the heels down. Eventually, as you know, in the final pose, the heels are down. Feet, Tony, that's fine for, especially if you're doing it for your back. The feet can be wider. Resist the inner knees away. All right, now walk your feet toward your hands. Take an Uttanasana, feet together. Uttanasana. Elaine, not you. Yeah, and go down. All right. Now inhale, come up, and we're doing Parsvottanasana. All right, so you'll have your blocks at the top of the mat. Bend your left leg and step it far back. So when you come into it this way, there's a tendency to shorten the stance. I don't want you to do that. So if you find this, and you know the stance because we've done this pose a gajillion times, you might have to inch out with the front foot. Now, take a glance at your back left heel. Here's the thing, guys. The foot should not be turned in so it's running parallel to the right foot. If you do that, you lose the compactness of the hips, but the outer edge of the left foot must be down. So I'd say turn it in like 30 degrees. Not, yeah, Tony, that looks good. And no, even a little more because yeah, turn it in so that the hips are even, Steven. The pelvis is, the frontal hip bones are even with each other. Okay, now, keeping the legs straight, pressing the feet, bend at your hips and come into the very first stage. This is why we did the calf stretch. No one's back heel is going to lift off the floor. Bend forward, that's it, Gail. Trunk concave. Good, Carla. Wait there. Peggy, I think the blocks are actually too high, and this is what I wanted. Okay, I'll have to do this on the other side. Look at your own screen, everyone. Winnie, you can, it'll be hard for you to tell from a frontal view. The shoulders should not be higher than the hips. And this is why there's a lot to accomplish here in class. This is what often happens with revolved triangle. The shoulders are in line with the hips. Actually, Lana, now turn the arms from the inside out. That will also help to bring the shoulder blades flat to move the trapezius down. Remember, the skin of the that upper trap should not hike onto your neck. This is really important. Now, let the elbows go out to the side and release. We did that work, release. Let the side ribs release, but don't bend the legs. There's a lot, it's the very basic pose. My teacher always said when we did the level 5 class, we did all these advanced poses, and then she would teach poses like this and revolved triangle, and she would be mortified. And now inhale, up you come. Now kick forward with the back leg. Take Uttanasana, feet together, go down. Elaine, you can just do Tadasana or Utkatasana. Go down, go down. Come on, look at. See, all this work, the calf work, this release of the spinal muscles, all go hand in hand. Okay, now inhale, up you come. Take a giant step back with right heel. Heel must be down, but not at the expense of the spine shortening. That is key. You can get the back, listen, it's easy to get the back right heel down if you take a mini stance, right? But that's not the shape of the pose. Now bring, Luna, bring that back right hip more around. Swipe the outer back thigh, Luna, and bring it around so the hips have half a chance of balancing. Okay, now keep the back leg straight. Peggy, knee into knee of the back leg if you can. Yes, now bend forward. Carla, that's it. Bend forward. Yeah, bend forward. Get your stability. Suck the outer left shin in. That big toe mound. Bring the hands. Yes, if taking the arms backward helps you extend the trunk forward, wise idea. Now, Lana, make sure again. Yeah, you're on the height. I would take the blocks closer to the ankle, I think. Yeah. So that will help. Not see what happens when the blocks are closer to the ankle. The trapezius doesn't hike up onto the neck. Most of you, I think, need the blocks on the low side fingertip. That's what I think is for most of you. Now, widen the elbows and release those spinal muscles. Let them go. All that work in the Parsvottanasana should really, really help. Legs straight, back heel down. All that work for the calf. Don't let that left hip move out. That left hip moves to the right, just like Supta Padangusthasana 1. And now inhale, up you come. All right, now I want to see this one more time before we get to revolved triangle, and it's so hard to teach this pose on Zoom. So let me just show again. All right, so my blocks are closer to my ankle than here. See, if my blocks are here, of course, the trapezius is going to hike up to my neck. So I have the blocks closer to my heel. All right, so say I had my blocks on the medium side. Do you see how my shoulders are higher than the hips? Don't want that, right? So I have to find, it's a Goldilocks pose. So maybe I'll go to the low side flat palm. Yeah, that's okay. I could do it this way. But to me, I find there's like kind of this middle path when I'm on my fingertips and the blocks on the lowest height, I get the trapezius to move down. I get the shoulder blades to move in without a little bit of the struggle when I go flat palm. Could do, I mean, the shape is right. The shape is right, but I prefer the fingertips. Is that clear? But do show me in profile. The reason I want to do it again is because it becomes super important in revolved triangle when we have to have the heel down. That's why we do the calf stretches, spinal muscles relax, and then we have to turn. So if you show me in profile, that would be ideal. Not Elaine's profile, yeah. All right, because I have to look at the shoulders and I can't tell from frontally. Winnie, you just change the mat, flip it. All right, here we go, step back. We're doing the right side. And I'll be able to tell, but also it's interesting to see yourself. So take a glance. Okay, legs straight, lift the trunk up, legs straight, outer right shin in, back heel has to be down. Now, bend forward, but keep the legs straight. Can you use back heel? You have to bring that left hip lubna good on this side around. Now, everyone just stay there so I can assess. Have the blocks closer to the ankle than to the toes. Your shoulders, good Peggy, are not higher. Get the metrics, 2 legs straight, arms straight, back concave, back concave. Winnie, go a little bit higher on the blocks. Let me see. No, that didn't help. Okay, come lower on the blocks, fingertips. See, for you, it's a little bit different because your blocks take them a little bit, go down, except for Winnie, everybody else go down, release the waist side ribs. Winnie, that's good. Just take the blocks a little wider to the outer edges of the mat because for you, it's the trapezius is still hiking up, but you got the right side, the size of the block on the low and the fingertips. Mary Beth, good. And now inhale, up you come, and now other side. Okay, step back, right heel. These look good. Now it might be that if the hamstring of the left leg is tighter, yeah, and Lubna, bring the right hip around, Yes, yeah, use your hand. All right, and now keep the legs straight, bend forward, legs straight. Carla, that's it, inch out with the front foot, bend forward. All right, now assess, yeah. Mary Beth, yeah, I think go flat palm, Mary Beth, because that's too high. Flat palm, yes. Now make sure when you're flat palm, Mary Beth, pay attention, looking forward. Listen, when I felt that trapezius hiking up on my neck, look forward, not so much from the chin, but from the bridge of the nose. That can help. Good, Gail. Now go down, go down, go down. Release, release, release. Let those side ribs release. It's so hard as we get older because those ribs and intercostal muscles get like ice cubes. Okay, and now inhale, up you come. All right. I wish everyone had a table to release their spinal muscles, but we can't do that. So I'm going to go on to revolve triangle, and I want to just show it with some clarity. All right, so it starts just like Parsvottanasana, but we add a twist. So watch. I'm going to step back, and remember, you can use your wall. And then as I reach out with the opposite arm, I pay attention to keeping my legs straight. And then I bring the hand down to, it could be the floor, right? Now, here's the thing. When I bring my hand to the floor, I'm assessing where my left armpit is in relationship to my right hip, okay? So say I didn't look at myself and I brought the block to this. to the high side. Do you see how now my left shoulder is much higher than my right hip? So you have to find out what height do you need. Most of you, I suspect, will be on the medium side and on fingertips based on what I saw in Pajrotanasana, which I'm in right now. All right, the medium side of the brick. And look here. So you have to get the sides of your trunk parallel to each other as you turn, right? All right, let's try this. So you'll set up in such a way so when you turn to the right, your trunk is facing me. Puzzle to the brain. All right. So we're just taking this one next step, and then I might spotlight someone. Lubna, yeah, your trunk is going to face me. Right leg's in front. All right, here we go. All right, Gail. So now have you Gail inch out a little bit with the front foot, Peggy. That's good. All right, now remember what I said. Keep the legs straight. Extend the left arm forward, but move the tops of the thighs back. Try a movement without the chair or anterior facing. Now, bring the left hand to the block. Now, take a look at yourself and make sure that your left armpit is in line with the right hip, and then begin to turn. That's it, Peggy. Just keep the hand on the hip. Now, Winnie, do you see how your trunk, can you see on the screen how it's angular? See, yeah, so see if you can bring that, yes, bring your hand down to the floor and try, yeah, not so much the stance. Yeah, I want to look at yourself in the screen and see that the left armpit is no higher than the right hip. Tony, I think you could go lower. All right, let's see. Lubna, that's good. All right, now compact the hips, reach out with the left arm and up you come. I know it's hard and it doesn't get that much easier, but we're trying to get the geometry of this. So it will require a little bit of finessing. Do you go to the medium side with flat palm? Or maybe you go to the low side with fingertips. So I want you to figure that out. I can tell on the screen from this. Okay, left side of the trunk facing me, and you're turning. Right side rather. Okay, left leg's in front, right leg's behind. Right arm reaches out. But here's the thing, guys. Keep the legs straight as you simultaneously reach out with the right arm. Move the roots of your thighs back. Yes. Now place your hand on a brick, very ideally to the back left heel. Now look at yourself, good Gail, look at yourself and find out your right armpit should be aligned with the left hip, but this is what's happening, Lubna, that left hip is moving, yes, cut it back, Lubna. That's good, Tony, but I still think it's a little bit high because what I'm seeing is that right shoulder is higher than the hip. I want the sides of your trunk, my friends. So it's such a hard pose, need to be parallel. And now keep the hand on the, it's fine there, Beth, to take the hand off the hip, but just to make it easier. Now reach out with the right arm and up you come. Okay, so you can probably see why we did what we did in terms of the calf stretch and the paraspinal muscles. All right, let's, all right, I'm going to show an anterior facing revolved triangle. All right, so watch everyone. So the wall is always the truthometer. Lubna, I know you know this one, and many people do this one to get more turn as we're doing it. They also do this one if they have a hamstring injury. So just as an aside. So watch. Since we're going to the right first, I'm going to have my body in such a way that the right hip is forward and the right greater trochanter, my outer right hip, touches the wall. And then I want to step back, the back heel, I want down. And then I'm keeping my legs straight. I'm just reiterating the same instruction. So I'm moving the roots of the thighs back as I extend the left arm out and I'm kind of hugging the wall. And then I can use the wall, the hard surface of the wall to propriocept turning from the left to the right. It's awkward because you're really close to the wall, but it works. If you don't have a wall, then maybe take a chair, as I showed last week, and you'll get more turning power Lana, do you have a wall you can turn to, anterior facing? So watch, so when I use the chair, this is how, if you don't have a wall, you see, this helps. And if anyone doesn't have a wall, look at me and I just can do it that way. Carla, you know what I will say, listen, guys, I want you to work with this watch. Hold on a minute. I'm going back to the wall. I do think it's, you know, this way, it's a little bit hard, bend as we did in that Sukhasana. So I'm bending a little bit because my arm hurts from the COVID shot. This right arm to turn. I think the bending of the arm. So just take a look, everyone. Do you remember what we did back here? Do you remember we did this? We hooked. It's just like that. That's what I wanted you to feel. It's just like that. All right?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So when you do it at the wall, you do not get the right end, you do not become parallel to the floor. It's okay.
You may not. I don't know how I was because I was facing the wall. All right. But the idea here, Elaine, is it gives you more turn. Okay, and go. Luna, that's good. And watch how that pins that front hip in the wall. Carly, you could go a little lower and be less upright. You know what I mean? You know what I mean by that? Yes, go a little bit lower down. So you're still getting the shape. Gail, you can bend that right arm a little bit and off to the side more so you can use it for turning. Okay, just come out. All right, sit down, go back to Sukhasana, Swastikasana, and do left arm against the knee. Okay, just what we did, because I really want to work on this. And I know it might be tedious and you probably hate me, but look, get this action. So see how I'm using this right hand to turn left to right. Oh. Now, how many of you, what you're doing now, did you feel this when you were against the wall? I doubt it, right? This is way more intense. That's what I want you to do. Go back to the wall. We have this in. So when I turn, I did it at the wall. Now I'm doing it out. Do you see how much more turn I get? Look at this. It's this. When you go to the right, the left side is convex. And I'm using, imagine the wall, and I'm turning. All right, so because this Swastikasana is much closer to the earth, you can get more turning power. So take right leg, Mary Beth, that's good. So let's just try it again. So even if you don't get it today, I want you to the method behind this madness, right? So I'm working with the shapes and the actions. Okay, now go revolve triangle to the right again. I would have slightly bent arms so you get more turning. Turn. See if you can duplicate. That's much better, Carla. Back heel down. See if you can duplicate. So remember, Winnie and Tony, the trunk is not upright in this. It's parallel to the floor. That's the shape. Parallel. Yes, the left, yes, that's it. Parallel. Okay, now inhale, come up, sit down. Do Swastikasana again, now to the left. Oh, get those ribs up and over that left thigh. This really will help. If it's challenging for you, you can do it this way. Look, just sit in the chair. Sit in the chair and do it in this manner. If it's hard on the knees, sit in the chair. Now, Lubna, yeah, crawl out beyond that knee, So in your mission, it's a forward bend revolve triangle. It's a standing bend, forward bend, and standing pose. Okay, now up you go and left leg, because you know what's coming. All right, now hug the wall and turn. You don't. See if you can have the memory of what you just did in Swastikasana or on the chair and now turn. Okay, and then hopefully, yeah. So Tony, do you need me to demo? That's it. Now turn. So as you go to the left, Lana, cut the back right ribs down. Imagine I'm in my room and I'm swiping your right shoulder. Move it down, right? Cut it down. Cut it down. That's it, Peggy. Yes, Peggy. So it's not that. Make those. I'm just trying to say it different ways. I'm sure it's frustrating because I can't be with you. Those back right ribs want to be thick. Make them thick. Make them thick. Okay, just sit down for a moment. All right. Now, This is what's really interesting when I created this sequence the other day, is there's revolved triangle, there's revolved half moon. Okay, now typically we learn revolved half moon much later than revolved triangle. But here's the interesting part. When you do revolved half moon from revolved triangle, because you reach out with one arm, you create more length and traction in the spine. So actually it's an easier pose to turn. All right, you're gonna feel this. When I just explained that, how many of you understood what I was saying? Okay, I'm gonna demonstrate it. Of course, you'll feel it in your body, so watch. All right, we're gonna start, think of what we did, Parsvottanasana, revolved triangle. Now we're doing revolved half moon. So I'm going to step back in the same way. All right, now I'm just gonna say, could use a block, I'm not going to. Same exact thing. Roots of the thighs back, extend my arm forward. And turn from the left to the right. Okay, now I'm gonna bend my leg. Now here's the key. When I shift the weight onto the right foot and I reach my left hand forward, I create all that beautiful length in the left side. Now, all I have to do is pick up, keep turning, pick up my back leg and make it at least 90 degrees to the floor. All right, sorry for losing my balance there. All right, so the interesting thing is when you come into revolved half moon, what side of your back, when you go to the right, will cut down to the floor? I hope you're saying left, okay? The left side of your ribs. So what I'm saying to you is much easier to get it because now the right hand will come forward. If you understand that, then the whole pose dramatically changes and it will change your revolved triangle. And I never made the connection when I was a young practitioner, certainly not, but I'm telling you now. Okay, here we go. Step back with the left heel. Wait there. Suck the shin out of right shin in, back heel down. Reach forward with your left arm. We're coming into it from revolved triangle. Look at your screen. So when you're going to the right turn, cut the left side of the back ribs down. So now you're in revolved triangle. All right, now all you have to do is have courage to bend the front leg. That's the easy part. Extend the left hand out about 9 inches from the big toe, from the toes, and now draw up on your outer right knee to your hip and raise your back leg up, not too high, just 90 degrees. That's it, Lana. Now cut the left side of the trunk down to the floor. It's much easier to make those thick back left ribs thin in revolved half moon. Good, Mary Beth. Now bend the front, extend through the back, come back again to revolved triangle. We'll have done this now probably 5 times, and then inhale up you come. Okay, change sides. Let's do it again. All right, back, right heel, left leg in front. I'll do it frontally. All right, put your hands on the roots of the thighs. Press the thighs back. Extend the right arm forward. Reach out, get length from the get-go as you simultaneously move the roots of the thighs back. Wait there, revolve triangle. Keep that hand on the hip, left hand on the hip. Now bend the left leg. Extend your right hand about 9 to 12 inches in front of your left toes, and then draw up on your outer left knee to your hip as you, that's it, Tony, lift the back leg up. Lift the back leg up. Lift the back leg up. That's it. Now cut the right side of the weight of the back ribs down as you begin, Lana, to turn from the right to the left. Okay, now to come out, bend the front, extend through the back leg. I know it's a lot to ask, or come back to your final revolved triangle. Okay, take dog pose for symmetry. Dog pose for symmetry. Elaine, you can do Prasarita Padottanasana. So after all those asymmetrical revolved triangle and revolved half moon, which we haven't done. All right, good, good, good. All right, hopefully, maybe a little bell went off in your mind from explaining that. Okay, now take a well-deserved rest, just sitting Upavishta Konasana. Just be on the median line of the legs. The interesting thing is now in Upavishta Konasana, because of what we did, your legs should feel very long. Having done the calf stretch, they should feel very long and sleek. Bring the hands beside your hips and lift up. You know, so much is the sequence. I mean, it's amazing how much a good sequence can help. Lift your side ribs up. All right, now we're doing Upavishta Konasana, similar to what we've done all morning. So Gail, now we're just in Upavishta Konasana, making your legs sleek. And then watch. So there's different ways to come into it. Because my arms hurt, I'm not taking them overhead from the shot. I'm just going to swing my arms in this manner. And then I'll take a glance at my left foot with my left eye, and then aim, as we've been doing all morning, that left hand to your outer right knee. But watch this. This is what typically people do. They swing, swing, swing. They drop the chest, they turn their head, and the trunk is now perpendicular to the floor. Pose, the head turns last, and the trunk remains perpendicular to the floor. Okay, so let's do it to the right. Oh, that's good. Make sure that the left foot remains perpendicular. Good. Keep your trunk on its axis, your head too. Don't let the head come forward or drift it back. And just stay in Parshva Upavishta Konasana to the right. Find out in turning to the right, did you lose the contact of the backs of the thighs with the earth? And now come back to center. If you want to take the arms up and then turn, that's fine. I can't do it myself. Okay, and then swing, swing, swing. Keeping your mind on your right leg, turn to the left. Keep the trunk perpendicular. Head not coming forward. Head is in line with the hips. Trapezius moving down. All that work. Okay, now repeat. Parshva Upavishta Konasana. This time go a little wider in your Upavishta, a little wider, because typically having been in Upavishta Konasana, we can go wider. Seal the legs to the floor, and then in any manner, aim the left hand to your outer right knee. Go. Turn. Don't let the trunk come forward. The trunk is upright. And now take your right hand off the floor and aim it to the left side of the waist and turn the waist, turn the ribs, and turn the armpit. Turn, turn, turn. So those three parts. Feel how now, having done all the standing work, how they're a lot more mobile than they were before you sat down. Okay, now to the left, and then use your hand, left hand to turn. All right, turn at the waist. So all the spinal muscles are turning from as low down as the navel band up toward the upper trapezius. That's good, Luna. All right, now come out. All right, now we're going to do a pose that is probably my least favorite pose in all of yoga. Hence why I don't teach it or teach it often. We're going to do Janu Shirshasana. All right, so watch. This is what we're going to do. We'll put some of the pieces together. I've been negligent for not teaching this pose. I'm going to start with the feet apart. All right, watch. And then I'm going to put my hand in the pit of the knee and aim the right sole of my foot on your inner left thigh. Okay, now watch. We're going to do this in 3 different ways. So if your knee is up in the air, as I'm showing now, then sit on a bolster or a blanket. So watch. Back to what we've done earlier on. I'm going to go over the right knee. I'm aiming out over the right knee. And then watch. I'm going between the right knee and the left leg. If you need blocks of the bolster, as we did in Parshva Swastikasana, take it. And then the third position is adjacent to your inner left leg. So again, it's over the knee, between the legs, and then on the inner seam of the left leg. Is that clear? All right, let's do it. Start in Dandasana, I'll just mirror image you. Aim the sole of the foot on the inside of your thigh. If the knee is up, then you need, Carla, if you need, the knee is up, sit up on some height. All right, sit up on some height and get the trunk perpendicular. Okay, now you're aiming to go, as we did in Parsvasvastikasana, over the right knee. Go out and over. Go out and over the right knee. It's on a diagonal. Go out and over. If you need, remember what I said about the trapezius. Remember, if your shoulders are hiking up, take the arms wider apart and higher. Use the principles of decentralization. You're aiming to get the body pretty much lying on top of the leg. Wait there, just, that's good, Peggy. Same exact thing. The leg shape has changed. It's different now than Parsvastikasana, but it's the same thing. All right, now come up and go between the two legs. Go between the two legs. And then come up and now go on the inside seam. So your arms, both arms will be on the inside seam of your right leg. It's not the final pose, we'll get there. Actually, the final pose is different position of the right leg, but we'll see if we get there. All right, now come up, same thing, other side. So now take back your left knee. Sole of the foot on the inside of the right thigh. And then you're going over the left knee, between the legs, and on the inner seam of the right leg. All right, when you're ready in that manner, go over the left leg, left knee. Go out and over. That's it, Carla, out and over. Trapezius moving toward the waist. Good. Now between the legs, come up and then go between the two legs, between the Janu Sirsasana left leg and your right Dandasana leg. Okay. And then of course on the inside seam of the leg. All right, now we'll attempt to do the final pose with the sole of the foot on the inside of the left thigh. So actually, just to distinguish, in this very first stage, the sole of the foot's on the inside of the stage. In the final pose, the knee is actually behind the right hip, and the foot is really more on the metatarsal than up against the inner thigh. All right, so watch what we're going to do. I think I better show it this way. All right, so putting all the pieces together now. So I'm going to go back to my right leg. If the knee is up, I'm going to insert the height and then watch. So we went over the knee through the legs on the inner seam of the leg. Now in Janu Sirsasana final pose, the right arm is going to reach out for the big toe side of the left foot. And then eventually both hands are holding the foot and then I go down. But this is what I want you to see. In order to get the right side of the ribs to move to the left, I'm going to use the hand in the same way I had you do in revolved triangle at the wall to get the turning. So you see I'm coming up for air. I'm using my left hand to lift the abdomen up and over my thigh, and then I'll hold the foot and go down. You see? So I'm using the turning. First of all, I'm holding that foot, I'll use it with the right hand. I'll start with the right hand. Use the left hand for the turning power. Once I've gotten that maximum turn, then hold both sides of the foot and go down. I hope that's clear. I don't know. All right, shall we? Right leg in. All right, just take the concave stage first. Chin up, look up. All right, now keep the right hand on the foot and then take the left hand into the pit of your abdomen and turn from the right to the left. Then place the left hand on the floor, get more turning power. Remember how you use your hand, the left hand on the wall to turn. And then quickly release the left hand from the floor, hold the foot, the sides of the foot and go down. Hold the Janu Shirshasana, it's a forward bend. Lubna, now hold the sides of the foot and go down. Sides of the foot. Okay, now inhale, up you come. Those look good. Change sides, left leg in. So what? Let me just show you from frontally. So here's my concave stage. Watch. Concave. Because I changed it up when I was doing it. Here's the concave. All right, now I'm going to take it'll be your right hand. I lift up and over. I begin the turning power, but then I'm going to place that right hand down on the floor, get more turning power. Remember, revolve triangle. And then when I can't turn anymore, I reach out, clasp the foot, and go down. All right. This is, I think, one of the best ways to do this pose, but I don't know. All right, here we go. Concave first. Left leg is bent. Left leg is bent. Okay, now begin the turning power. Take the right hand, lift the abdomen on the left side, up and over, up and over, up and over. Good line of that to keep the neck long. Now place the right hand beside the right hip, get more turning power, keep lifting, and then quickly, when you can't turn anymore, hold the sides of the foot with both hands and release the side ribs forward. Release the side ribs forward. Release the side ribs forward. And go down. Think of Parsvottanasana. Every single part of this sequence had meaning for this sequence. Now come up and do Paschimottanasana. So I had been teaching it with bent legs. Last time I taught it, if you want to start with straight legs, then it's fine and go down. So this is an easier pose for most people than Janu Shirshasana because it's symmetrical. Janu Shirshasana is hard, like revolved triangle. It is revolved triangle. Janu Shirshasana is revolved triangle seated. And it's challenging because you have to, in a forward bend, seated forward bend, you have to turn your trunk. Lana, that's fine. That's pretty, yeah. Go roll out your armpits. Lubna, watch right above the knee. You're losing that contact with the floor. Carla, same thing, just right above the knee, press down. Yes. All right. Now I just want to show one thing, and this is challenging. In the final pose, the arms are straight. They're not bent. Now it's not to say that we don't work with the bent stage to go forward, but in the final pose, the hands are beyond the feet. They're straight. The legs are straight and the arms are straight. Because I think Mary Beth, some of you could, Elaine can do that. If you need to bend the arms, which is many people stay for years, and that Winnie, that will help you move the trapezius down. Tony, for your back, separate the legs a little bit and stay with bent arms. Press the knees down. That's fine to use a bolster, Lubna, in the armpits. Lana, good. Peggy, that's good. Now, Peggy, I think you can make your arms straight. Elaine, good. Arms are straight. Because some of you, Peggy and Elaine and Mary Beth, arms are straight. That's it. It's fine to keep the elbows bent. Okay, and now come out. Now, I think let's do a chair Bharadvajasana, which will feel good having done those forward bends. You sit in the middle of the chair and turn. You can also sit in the chair and turn. Oh, that feels good after the forward bend. Okay, chair Bharadvajasana to the right. And remember, the same metrics apply. The chest is upright, feet apart. So if you're sitting here, guys, the feet sit in the middle, legs are apart and turn, but not so much here, not there. Find the middle path, right? If you want to put a block between the inner thighs, that's fine. Turn, let the elbows go out to the side. That will help many of you descend the trapezius, right? So when I have my arms bent, I'm moving the trapezius down. Lubna, that's good. Don't lean back at all. All right, now to the other side. So I think we accomplished a lot, although this sequence was a little complex. Gail, that's it. Go. All right, now come out of the chair So that was really as a counterpost to the forward bends. Actually, if you want to use the chair, you can, and strengthen your hamstrings in this way. We haven't done this in some time. And holding the front rungs of the chair, toes up, heels down, and lift your pelvis off the floor. Get tremendous height to your pelvis without letting the legs splay out. If you don't want to do it with the chair, that's fine. Yeah, chair can be at the wall, Tony. Yeah, just make sure you're holding the rungs of the chair. If you don't want it with the chair.
Bye, Ronnie.
Bye, Mary Beth. I'll be in touch. Luna, that's good. And then go up and down to strengthen your hamstrings. That's it, Tony. Lift up and down. Just as more of an antidote for all that hamstring stretching. Lift up. Sense that you're lifting up from the posterior side, the posterior chain, the back side of your body. Okay, up and down. That's good. Carla, good. So work those gluteal muscles, work the hamstring muscles. Winnie, you could be a smidge closer to the chair. Yeah, so almost like if you hold those front rungs, it will help you get more height. Because if you're too far away from the chair, you wind up at an angle, you know. All right. And then if you want to use the chair for Shavasana, our last pose, that's fine. If the chair is set up and you just want to put the lower legs, if it's cold, you can put a blanket or mat piece on it. Good. So since, I've been back from California, we've taken the last 5 sequences or so, how many, I don't know exactly how many, but it's about, I think about 5. And we've kind of been very methodical. We've moved from, that first lesson back on whatever it's March 18th, and then progressed from there. So I don't know if you've noticed that in the sequences. We did the leg stretches, Parsvottanasana, now the calf stretches, Parsvottanasana, and we added revolved triangle, and today we added revolved half moon. So again, lie down, if you're lying down, in such a way that you can balance calmness, shamatha, with alertness. Calm, abide. Acknowledge the work that your body has done, that your mind has done, and then just setting it all aside, not evaluating the work, being here now, feeling again the parts of the body, of your body that are in contact with the earth, be it the buttock bones, for some of you are lying on the floor, the entire body, particularly the circumference of the heels and the back of the head. Let your eyes close, and once again, take the eyes to the heart, that downward trajectory into the heart. Let your body, let your mind settle in that heart area. Sense the energy slowing down, moving down, resting in the heart area. And if thoughts come up, memories, planning, any of the proliferations of the mind, sense that once again, you're connecting the brain to the heart, that downward and inward trajectory from the brain to the heart. Might feel like a slight angle to you. And sense that you're reaching downward, inward, resting there. If for some reason you're not comfortable in the Shavasana that you've chosen, you can go to a child's pose, provided your knees don't bother you, or for that matter, prone, or any other lying down Shavasana that you do. Just taking time to observe the effects that not only Shavasana has on your mind and your body, but the asana practice itself. We note how much better we feel having done, an hour and a half of asana. Will give us the incentive to practice again. Sometimes we just don't even look at that. Now it feels comfortable for you, and the bolsters there. You can do the child's pose where your chest is supported with the bolster and your back is supported. So those of you who have the bolster with the straps, it's easier to get in that configuration. Carl, if it bothers the knees, then just stay where you are. But do the chest supported, and if you have the second bolster, put it against your back. So it's a very good pose to do for anxiety. That's good, Luna. Yeah, knees can, exactly. So it's really like going into a little cave. You can hold the bolster, hug it. Carla, that's it. Yeah, so let the chest be supported. You can, I think easier on the arms, Carla, just to hug the bolster, have the elbows bent, just kind of wrap the elbows, the lower arm around the bolster itself. Yeah. Now, those of you who are not in child's pose can sit for a minute. And then those of you in child's pose, just stay another minute or so, and then you'll push the floor away from you and slowly come up. But you can stay a little bit of time because it takes time to get in that pose. Child's pose, people can slowly come up. I'm going to stop the recording. And of course, if you have questions